TapTastic Tuesdays.
Hello everybody, it's the TapTastic Brian Davis, and I want to welcome you to another one of my TapTastic Tuesdays, where I give you a new step every Tuesday. And this Tuesday, we're going to focus on the legendary tap master, Mr. Chuck Green.
DQ. Line DQ.
I chose Chuck Green specifically today because as I was reading about his life, there are a lot of parallels between his life and mine, specifically when it comes to tap dancing and the importance of tap dancing in our lives. Now, many people know and many people don't know that tap dancing was developed by African Americans whose drums were taken away. Let me explain. When the slaves were brought here, the plantation owners realized that the drums could be used as a method of communication because different drum rhythms had different meanings. Some drum rhythms were for weddings, some were for harvest, and some were for war. Okay? And the amplification of the drum could be heard from miles away. So, the Africans who were slaves at that time used those drums to communicate with each other and to form slave rebellions. Because of that, specifically in the United States, the drums were taken away. So what happened was the slaves, they put the rhythms into their bodies as body percussion, into their feet, and into their songs. And this is how tap dancing was formed. And you can still see this to this day. For instance, Chuck Green as a child, he tap danced with bottle caps on his feet. Okay? When you go down to New Orleans, you can see the same thing happening to this day. The tradition still is happening. So, I myself also was a street tap dancer and used tap dancing to make money to pay for college, to pay for tap dance trips, to pay for my lessons. It was definitely a means of survival. Now, Chuck Green, he moved to New York when he was about 9 years old. He was scouted out by a talent agent and later on would become a duo called Chuck and Chuckles. Now, this duo was internationally recognized as well as in New York at the Palace Theater. And this is the 1940s. So there was a lot of stress and a lot of things involved in being a famous internationally known tap duo at that time. And unfortunately, the level of stress got to him eventually. And he would end up in a mental institution for 15 years. 15 years. But tap dancing, as I said, is a foundation cornerstone of the African American. Okay? So as he came out of that mental institution, he was still able to dance. Not just for himself, but he was dancing on television. He was dancing for live audiences, and he became a member of the Copacetics. So he has a triumphant story through tap dancing, which I believe, even though I did not know him personally, I believe tap dancing saved his life. It is similar for me, as when I was a child, my mom would always say that if there was anyone that was going to get into any trouble, it was me. I used to steal, I got into fights, and I was suspended from school every now and then, and eventually in 5th grade I was expelled from school, and I got into a little bit of trouble. But I started tap dancing around that time too. So all of my extra energy, all of the stress and all of the things that I was dealing with, I was able to put them into tap dancing. And I am a professional entertainer today because of that purpose, because I was able to put everything into tap dancing, and because of my supportive mother and my tap dance family, the Northwest Tap Connection. So, tap dancing may be just for entertainment for some, but for me, it's life. It's definitely life. So I'm going to give you a little life just now, and I'm going to show you a step by the legendary Chuck Green. All right, let's get to it. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it. Okay, so it's time to break down the step for you. You're going to lift up your right knee, and you're going to do a pick-up toe heel on the left. It looks like this. And then cross over, heel, toe. Okay? So it goes, ba, ba, boom, boom, ba. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to do it again, starting with the right foot and ending on the left foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. Do it one more time. Then, on the left foot, step, heel, toe, stomp. It's important that you do a stomp and you take the left foot off of the floor, because this step is all about weight changes, okay? Let's do that one more time. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step, heel, toe, stomp. Okay? Now, as you saw in the video, it has a turn in it. So the last step actually goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step, heel, toe, stomp. With that foot coming off the ground, okay? From the top. Here we go. And now, you're going to take that and you're going to reverse it, starting with the right foot, ending on the left. Now you're going to step on the right to do the turn. Step, heel, toe, stomp. And the right foot comes up. Okay? Starting on the right foot. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to go back to the left foot one more time. Alright, so now we're going to do the break. The break starts with a toe, heel, 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 heel. Da, dee, 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 dee. And you're going to do a little chug with that, with a little style on it, okay? 5, 6, 7, and toe, heel, 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 heel. Spank, step, step. With a nice flat foot. 6, 7, 8. Toe, heel, 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 heel. Spank, step, step, spank, step, step, spank, heel. Again. 6, 7, 8. Toe, heel, 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 heel. Spank, step, step, spank, step, spank, spank, heel. Close third. And that's the end. One more time. All together. All right? Okay, so now that you have it, let's do the whole step all together. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it, folks. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it. TapTastic Tuesdays. Now, if you don't want to miss another one of my TapTastic Tuesdays, there are 4 ways that you can subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at TapTastic Brian Davis. I also have my own website and mailing list at taptastic.net. Happy tapping, y'all. Peace and love.